Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, here at Moe's Pizza on the West Bank. We appreciate you being here with us this evening. I'm here, Rick Gaille, your coach for PRI, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Mr. Rene Nadeau, the man, the legend. We're so fortunate to have him with us, but even more fortunate today to have the head coach of the Destrehan Wildcats with us, Coach Steve Robicheaux, who sits in this chair very often the first week of the season, and we appreciate you, Steve, for taking the time and bringing your players with us and being here with us.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
Steve, always glad to have you here in the opening week of the season. 81.5% winning percentage. That's not a mistake. You know, that's pretty stout coaching. But this year, after 2 state championship games in the late 2007, 2008, you're rebuilding, replacing a lot of starters on offense. You got 6 starters on offense, 9 on defense, 8 and 9 on defense. This is a rebuilding year for you.
It is, you know, and it's an exciting year. I think we have some good players. We got a good nucleus of guys coming back. Offensively, I think we have the tools to be pretty good. Defensively, we got some guys that need to step up. You know, you're right, we replaced 9 on defense. A lot of those guys are on LSU, Texas, and those type of places. And, you know, some guys got to step up. At Destrehan, you know, we're very fortunate to have real good players, and we have real good players again this year. So hopefully those guys can buy into what we're trying to do and come together as a team, and hopefully that the defense can kind of catch up with the offense here, you know, by the middle of the season or so.
And with that defense, having to replace so many players, you're also doing something you really haven't had to do much of in your tenure there, and that's replace a coordinator. You lost your defensive coordinator, but a very able replacement, somebody we know extremely well, Marcus Scott, has come over to work with you. Talk about that transition, because you're a defensive coach. They've got to do it your way.
You're right, you're right. We're so excited to get Coach Scott. You know, he's just you know, more so being a good coach, he's a good person, and he's good for our kids. He works extremely hard. He knows the game. He's been around. I tried to hire him a long time ago, but he went to West Jeff, and he had a great career there. And then we were very fortunate that he was in a situation where he could come back to us this year. And just, you know, you always try to surround yourself with good people, good coaches, and at Destrehan we're fortunate enough to do that. And I tell you what, getting Coach Scott is just truly a blessing for us.
Steve, you 11-1 last year, and you have a history of winning at Destrehan. When you have such a tough district you're in, when you try to design your preseason schedule, what are you looking for? What kind of teams are you looking to play?
Well, you know, the number one thing you look for is programs and guys that do a good job of coaching, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. You know, we got Slidell with Larry Favre, who does a tremendous job. You know, I got a lot of respect for Larry. He's got good players. He does a great job coaching those guys. So you want guys that's going to give you a test, that's going to make you work hard to get prepared for the district, and because the district is tough, you know. And then, you know, we go to play Woodlawn with Daniel Luquette. You know, he's a guy that he does a tremendous job. He's a guy that was on our staff. You got a good football team. They're going to be good, well coached. And then, of course, you got the University of Everett week 3, and Corey has done a tremendous job at Everett. And, you know, of course, they, you know, in the Dome last year with great athletes, and he just did a tremendous job. So, you know, our main focus in preseason is make sure that we kind of find out the games that we need to find to make us better for the district run, and I think we'll be able to do that.
But isn't it true that most of the time in your pre-district schedule, it's the schools that'll just say yes?
You got a little bit of a point there, Rick. You know, it's all about scheduling and get guys to get you. You know, we're very blessed. We have some success at Destrehan, and it's only because of one reason, because we've got good players, good coaches. And you know, when you have success, you know, sometimes it's kind of a little bit harder to schedule, and we get in that situation a little bit. But you know, we've got some guys that agree to play us, and you know, it helps us get better.
Right. You've been coach 24 years, Steve, and 15 years as a head coach, and your position has kind of evolved. I mean, you're a head coach, but sometimes your phone rings late at night, for good reasons, hopefully. But you know, you mentor a lot of kids, and you look out, you become a part-time dad to a lot of these guys. So you're a 24-hour coach to a lot of these people.
There's no doubt. You know, when you're in this profession, as Rick knows and so forth, that it's all about the kids. And you know, you accept those calls late at night, and you want to help kids as much as you can. And they have problems, and I think the one thing you have to realize is, you know, you got to make decisions based on their situations, not yours. And I think that's the toughest decision you got to make on kids. You know, that hey, maybe he didn't have his shirt, or he didn't do this, he didn't bring it, he wasn't on time. But you got to understand where they come from, and you know, that's got to factor into your decision. The biggest thing is mostly with your assistant coaches. You know, they question some of the decisions you make, obviously, because you do make decisions, but you know the reasons why you make them, and you got to stay true to the kids, and I think that's the most important thing.
And that's an interesting concept, a dynamic that you have to deal with now, because certainly kids have always been a diverse group, and there's a lot of interest, and it takes many different ways to be able to communicate with them. But that's even tougher now. There's more backgrounds, more different family dynamics, more different outside interest groups,
right.
In the recruiting process especially. You have
right.
to teach. Before, you could let the process kind of play out, and now you have to be a guiding hand, not a directing hand in the recruiting
right.
process, because if you don't, somebody else will.
There's no doubt that social media has just changed recruiting for the way we used to know it. You know, it used to come straight through the head coach. Now the head coach is barely even involved with it. You know, social media is getting these guys recruited, and you really don't have hands-on deal. You know, at Destrehan, my philosophy is, we'll be there for you. If you have any questions, come see us. We'll help you out. But as far as, you know, you hit a great point that a lot of times guys that are guiding the young athletes are not the guys that probably should be doing that. And it ends up working out, but it's absolutely right. It's changed so much since the younger days when people were there and it was all about getting to the head coach and recruiting the players through the head coach. That just doesn't happen anymore.
You'd like to run the table, Steve, and be playing the last week in the Superdome, second week of December. But looking at this team, what kind of characteristics, what kind of program can this be this year? How good can this team be, 2016?
You know, realistically, I think we have a chance to be good. You know, and when you look at on paper, you know, offensively, you know, we have a real good offensive line. I think that's really going to be special. You have receivers in Jefferson, Young, and some younger guys that are real good. And finally, for once, we got a senior quarterback who's really good. So we're excited about his deal. We got a running back that finished second at 200 last year, who was a track guy last year. Now he's a running back that runs the track. So we're excited about him. And then we got a young kid named John Emery. You might recognize that name. John played for Destrehan and in Tennessee. His son's a special player also. So offensively, I think we got a chance to be pretty good. I think those guys are good. Coach Greg Boyne and Chad Blanchett, and those guys do a tremendous job with our offense. And I wouldn't want to defend them week in and week out, but you know, but they just do a tremendous job. And I just think, you know, with Coach Scott coming in, you know, new coordinator, 9 new starters, it might take a little while. And I just think, you know, if we can just hold it together and let those guys get where they need to be and gain some game experience, that hopefully by the middle of the year we'll be okay and we'll win some football games. And
in the last 30 seconds, Steve, a little shout out to the St. Charles Parish. Y'all have some new facilities and it's constantly being improved. Real excited, Rick. I mean, it's just a phenomenal weight room, the training room. We had Jay Robicheaux, who's a school board member, was on the architect committee, and our training room probably second to none, I tell you. So just a great facility for our kids to be proud of. You know, it was due. I think our parish has done a tremendous job. New AstroTurf, new field turf. I mean, just tremendous facilities for high school. I don't know if there's one better in the state, and just so proud to be part of Destrehan. That's Coach Steve Robicheaux from one of the elite programs in the area at Destrehan High School. We thank the Wildcats for being here with us today. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI. Rick Gaille here with Rene, Nadeau. Thank you, Steve. We're going to be right back with some Destrehan players after this timeout.